Hello friends, vinyl community, Wes here checking in with another episode of the Vinyl Survivor. This is where I pull 5 albums that are new to my ears, check them out, give them a listen, and let you know what I thought of them. So let's just go ahead and get into this new episode. I got a bunch to get through, so let's just go ahead and start. First album we have here is by the band Chicago. This is their album titled 16. Of course, after their first album, they just continued to title their albums with numbers. 16 is actually their 13th studio album, released in 1982. Their first album on Warner Brothers. Definitely a change of pace for the band. Definitely a very different sound, that sort of more 80s sound that more people were familiar with from Chicago. Very, very light rock album, adult contemporary kind of rock sound. Less and less of the horns. You're not getting much of the brass at all on this. But definitely the album, the Chicago that I grew up with, that a lot of people my age grew up with before discovering the original Chicago band, and we all loved them. I do, but I still grew up with this version of Chicago, and it's good. It's pleasant. It brings back memories for me. Several hits on here. The 2 big hits on this album were Hard to Say I'm Sorry and Love Me Tomorrow. Huge hits that still get radio play today. So a couple of other tracks that I really enjoyed on here were called Follow Me and Rescue You. Those are some other really good tracks. Follow Me is a little bit of a return to form of with the horns and everything, but a good album from Chicago, and I enjoyed it. And like I said, it brings back some memories of my youth, and definitely a very 80s sounding album from Chicago. You got more synthesizer, kind of electronic sounding. It definitely has a very 80s kind of clean sound to it. So that's Chicago 16. That one is a keeper for me. I enjoyed this one. And I didn't even show you the vinyl or anything. An inner sleeve with like a printed circuit board version of the Chicago logo. So that's kind of cool. And then just some liner notes on there. And as I said, this is their first album on Warner Brothers, but released on the Full Moon label. Just some nice blue labels. Pretty label, just not easy to read text on there. Alright, the next album we have here is the debut album from Joan Baez, released in 1960. This is titled Joan Baez, self-titled debut on Vanguard Records. This album was recorded in a hotel in New York, and just sort of recorded in a couple days. Just her sort of live recording. There wasn't like an audience or anything, but just sort of has that live feel to it, that very natural one take sort of feel to it. Definitely hears some of the room acoustics, and it has that very open, large room sort of feel to it that a live venue can give, or a big space. So it has sort of that live feel without being live. But a really good album, good debut album from her. She does a lot of different sort of styles of folk music. You got some English folk music, some American folk music, a lot of different stuff on here. Very interesting. Opens up with Silver Dagger. She does House of the Rising Sun, All My Trials. A lot of good stuff on here. Definitely a very enjoyable album, and definitely a great debut album from her. And this is on Vanguard with the brown label on it. So yeah, definitely a classic debut album. You hear this, you realize why Joan Baez had such a successful career. Amazing voice, amazing performer, beautiful artist, and a great debut from her. So this one is also a keeper going in the collection. Okay, next up, moving on to something from this year. This is the 9th studio album from Hanson, titled Anthem, released just earlier this year in the spring. 2 LP set here. This is their second release on vinyl. Shout It Out is also on vinyl, their previous album from 2011, I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was 2011 that was released. But this is just more continuing on with Hanson's sound. Very much a soulful rock sound. A little bit blues rock, soul rock, that kind of sound, very Midwestern sounding. I mean, definitely has a very Midwest soul rock blues rock kind of sound. You can definitely hear that Midwestern influence in here. Just another good group of fun songs to listen to. Get some lyrics on an inner sheet here, and then just some liner notes. And then it's a 2 LP set, just black vinyl, custom labels, pressed on their own. They have their own recording label called 3 Car Garage, and this is another release from that. So yeah, that's Anthem from Hanson. Not too much of a change in style or anything. So if you've liked previous, more current Hanson albums, and you're probably gonna like this one as well. It's a good album. Definitely very similar in style to some of their other work. Alright, next thing we have today, folks, is the 11th album from James Taylor, titled That's Why I'm Here, released in 1985. Another one where it was just a huge smash success for him. Definitely some very big hits on here. That's Why I'm Here, the title track, Only One, and Every Day. All 3 very big hits that I still hear occasionally here and there. But a pretty good, solid album from James Taylor. I really did enjoy listening to this one. His voice is very strong. The lyrics are good. He's got Graham Nash is on here. A couple other people play on here. Inner sleeve here with some liner notes on it. David Sanborn plays on here. Joni Mitchell, Don Henley. Another track I liked on here a lot that wasn't really a hit is a track Turn Away. Really cool sounding song. I really enjoyed it. And this is on Columbia Records. A sterling stamp in the dead wax. Okay, so James Taylor, That's Why I'm Here. That one is another one I liked enough to keep. Be going in the collection, maybe pull this out from time to time. A good one for a Sunday morning or something. Very, silky smooth voice and just nice, calming, relaxing sounding music. So, in James Taylor, That's Why I'm Here, going in the collection. Okay, folks, the last thing we have to talk about today is the 6th studio album from Emerson, Lake and Palmer. This is titled Works Volume 2. And the Works series, there's also a Works Volume 1. The Works Volume 2 is a compilation of sort of leftover tracks from some of their previous albums, previous recordings, sort of thrown together on here. Definitely a different sound from them, something you're not used to listening to. There's a lot of sort of bluegrass tinged songs on here, some jazz tinged music on here. Definitely a very different ELP, but still has that ELP vibe, still has, Emerson with all the synthesizers and stuff are still there, but just a little bit of a different sound from them. So this is on Atlantic, but it's on a white label. It's on Palm Beach International Recordings. Don't know if that has to do with Palm Beach, Florida or something. I'm not sure. Haven't really looked into that. But definitely a different label from Atlantic. It's a white label, but it's not a promotional white label. It's a white label. So yeah, that's Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Works Volume 2. Interesting release from them. Interesting compilation of tracks. Definitely something, as I said, something not very normal to the band. Something different that you haven't heard from the band before, so kind of an interesting journey for them. So yeah, Emerson, Lake and Palmer's Works 2 going in the collection. So I want to thank you for watching another episode of The Vinyl Survivor. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. That really lets me know you enjoy what I'm doing and I can keep going. So I thank you for that. Yeah, have a great day. We'll see you again soon. Cheers.